Peace in Islam. Okay, we got a lot to cover, so we get right into it. It's the prehistory, and going to explain a little bit of stuff. Explain some of the. We're going to deal with some of the characters. We're going to deal with some of the maps. The different ideas that I got about Amexem. What is it? And we'll show the brother who asked me on Facebook how I find that painting in Brazil, in the museum. We're going to see that. And might get to the prehistory. And break them down to a couple parts. This video don't make it too long. So we're going to get into this prehistory right here. And probably the next video. It's a lot of stuff. In 1277, the Castilians fleet sailed in the middle of winter heading to Morocco, where it would find summer, and experience the control. Sail lost for weeks, arriving in the Algeciras. Now, Algeciras is over here. So, stuff like that in the history books could throw us off. Okay. Which is Algiers? It's just in Latin. About the account say that they made out for the sail, trying to go somewhere. And this 1277 now. That's way before 1492, so these some different, these some earlier Moors from North Spain at this time, Andalus, because that's what Castile at. Alright, so they get on the board, but they get lost for a couple of weeks, but they end up landing at a spot, and they end up looting the place and dipping back in the boat and getting, the story just ain't right there. No, they end up back in Spain because the story they get back with acid shit, gold and all type of shit. And that's something that we should know, because guess what, look at this. There's a lot of stuff I do too, like all these little points. There's points that I get from books that talk about places, but I find places over here. But this one right here been real interesting because look at this. Let me go to Algeciras. It's a good book, Algeciras, but this one, look at this. Let's see, Morocco, 1277, Castilians arrive. That was, like, I ain't put that in there, that just popped up when I've been just looking for Algeciras. It's ridiculously telling us that. It would, because it would make more sense, because they get lost for weeks. They already know about the Straits, and they already know about Morocco at this time, 1277. People could still know about Africa. So they wouldn't get lost for weeks unless they get pushed from a current somewhere over here and up over here. So that's, he asked me how I find museums and how I find these paintings like this. We get to that. So with Amexem, I believe is a government. Like you got America, then you got the United States. That's the government. So in the old Moorish Empire, that's how it been, even back into ancient Egypt. So in this one right here called Shinar, which they never find a place called Shinar, so people believe that, well, they can't ever find other places in the Bible and stuff like that, because we don't lose sight of how to read and shit. But I believe Shinar was just like that, like a government, and I think there's just been one of them. So we about to see what the Moroccans called theirs. Amexem, a governing institution in Morocco. So the Berbers called them Amexem. It was the governing institution in Morocco and in pre-1947 Tunisia, centered on the king and consisting of royal notables, top-ranking military personnel, landowners, security service bosses, civil servants, and other connected members of the establishment. The term Amexem is also popularly used in Morocco as a word meaning state or government. That's what I think Amexem is. So, and they looked at it as like a quote-unquote warehouse. But they called it Agadir. Okay? Remember that, because that could be in the stories too. Like they could use that term. And even a warehouse of the crops and valuables. So, even some government shit, even important shit. So in our book, we talk about places like the Gulf of Yeguas, and all those stories exist in our libraries. But like we've been saying about Charles, he moved the names over there. He moved a lot of the names in the Canaries and in Northwest Africa on the coast. So, but we use context clues like we did with the Castilian account in 1277. Use context clues, like even if that, like at the end of the day, they could have just been somewhere for weeks and going into Africa, as we know Africa today, and loot and come back and say they've been somewhere. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we know through all that time something going on over here. So where's the stories? May 10th, 1497, adding that they took out 3 nails, including the caravel, which goes into possible being a custom of merchants and fishermen to protect each other to cross the Gulf of Yeguas. The official story passes the Ojeda caravel through the Cape of Aguirre under the pretext of meeting with a non-existent second ship. Inexplicable, the rodeo if we locate the Cape of Agadir, you see. That's why you can't really locate it, because it's not like a place name. It's a governance, like caliphate or stuff like that. It is reasonable to place it in the Amazon, and that's why I think one of them been at Agadir or Amexem or Shinar, because those governors all used to be by what I believe was riverways that got cities along the river. Like this place going down, I think this been at the Amazon, the one that you talk about, the Agadir. And if it is, that's already, they make it a Moorish, or so-called Berber kingdom. And Mississippi's another Agadir, or Amexem. And then now, Niger and all those other riverways. As long as you got cities along the river, because the river's the one that gonna feed everything. Uvela. Let's continue. So I found this in a museum in Uruguay, and you know, in New Mauritania, the old Mauritania, right? Right there in the dark, you see all those points. A lot of research that I need to really set up a society, a historical society, and get some shit going. What a historical society you can get clearance in certain places and get inside damn mounds and shit. They can't deny it because the international law, the law of nations, don't play with when it comes to the arts and social and the arts and societies, like historical societies, get special treatment. Media. That's why you have a media of a country, a media outlet of a country that at war with that country or the media outlet is doing the news in the middle of the war, and they wouldn't bother the newsman dealing with international law. So basically, what I used to do is even names will show up and from these stories that I don't only put in places. I put in names and they'll show up at sometimes. Like a lot of times, places are in the middle of nowhere, but most of the time, street names are restaurants. For some reason, restaurants. Of course, temples and mosques and universities, stuff like that. The names will show up in America. But most of the stories that I'm reading don't make that claim. Okay? Yeah, a lot of places in this area called Mari too, but you know that say more if you watch the last video. That's the country of the Seymours. If you know the language. I even got that as something saved. Because we finding it every day. And we always find this. Well, we're going to show you who we dealing with the so-called black Christians, aka Nazarenes. We dealing with all the same religions we in with today. Shit ain't changing, man. The only thing changes, we just lose a lot of shit. All our family inheritance. Alright. And why you do this? My brother would ask me how to find them shit. Just put in museo. I usually use, since I deal with South America, I using the Portuguese and Spanish version of the museum. And I'll put near, and I'll put, let's say, Venezuela. And all the red ones right there, the museums. So when you get to the museum, you just pick which one you want to go into, and you click photos, and then you click 360. This one ain't got none. The smaller museums ain't gonna have them. Look at that, that's Andalusian style. Everything over here is a mirror of Morris, Spain. Mostly in South America and the western of North America. The East Coast is mostly like Moorish. The other part of the Moorish, the French and Europe and English. The Nordic, the Nordic states. So let's we find one that I can go inside. The Museum of Caracas. Alright. See, yeah, right here, go to 360 view. And then you can walk around. Some of them you can't walk around, but you can look around. Some of them you can walk around. When you get inside it, sometimes I just go to historical sites near historical places near all kind of different keywords you can use. It's the future, man. It's that technology. I just want to show an example of walking around. Cause that's how you take the picture, get them good pictures. Like go inside the one in Lima, and take the picture of yourself of the Inca Kings. Cause they got two versions out on the internet. They got the version, the read down whitewash version on the internet, but I go inside of myself and sometimes go in the historical district and just walk around. Maybe take me to a certain place. Let's go look at the architecture. Look at that. I see something in my head I'm going back to later. I won't be already rambling. Usually I write something right there, a little note, but no. Let me see. Temple of the Sun Museum. Shh. They ain't won't let me walk around the Temple of the Sun. I've been walking around all kind of museums since I want to show the day they want to play. The most famous museums let you do more, but this one should let me. What do you mean? It's the Temple of the Sun. I don't even know. Play too much. And the small museums don't even got 360. Got the checker floor. You already know you're dealing with masonry, science. I know why they ain't let me walk around, but I know. Usually they'll have arrows pointing around so you'll be able to walk around the museum. They'll have numbers on the side that you can go upstairs, downstairs, what floor, and then you'll be able to zoom in, zoom out. So that's why he did. To get them pictures and shit. And I go inside in my last video, I went inside. That's where I get them pictures from with the anchor, the gold from the anchors. The Morse gold. Every museum in America got this, dealing with this. We're dealing with this what my channel basically dealing with. No need to talk about the so-called rulers. Let's tell the truth and shame them if they're the devil. So basically that's why they get these things. I can get this out of Minas. What they find Lucia. And they find more than Lucy. They find a lot of scouts with the same from this, all the people from there. You know, they only talk about Lucy though. But yeah, find us in Brazil. Just walk up in there, just look around, like shit, what the hell? Sitting right there and reading these. Sit right inside the museum and read the shit. And this is Latin and they got Latin and Portuguese. You can't even get in there. They got locked. They got a door. But they let you read about shit. Whoever I want to know what's on the back. All this Moorish history dealing with Spain and shit. The Infantes. I pay attention to we in Brazil in the museum, but this always been the people who've been around. When we get to those sections, we start going through the history. Probably in the next video we're gonna go through that's the ancestry, but probably start with the prehistory and then end it. So we got this was even crazy because you got the black, so-called black man with the white thing on. So you know this the checker, the checker flow. He got the so-called pale skin with the black thing on, and he got the deaf shit on, like right shit. It's all over the place. Played into black friars and stuff like that. But always keep this in mind. Just how the same, almost like the same that we see today. It ain't really changed much. You know, you still got so-called black people under different religions and stuff like that. And it's in Brazil now. Well, a lot of our story gonna allegedly take place. Allegedly. But to us, as Moorish Americans, ain't no allegedly. We ain't keep what nobody else got to say. Chapter 47 is what it is. And the United States definitely ain't got nothing else to say against that because they out of their own mouth they agree. But I talk about these other people being on the internet talking about all this crazy shit. That's why we only dealing with our own history. So write it down, and that's your history. Teach that to your family. See, you got the hand on the heart. And every museum, they got a story like this. Moros and Cristianos. And like I was saying, with the numbers on the side, you can go in the basement, -1, second floor, and walk around, just take screenshots. Stories got exhibits like this all day. The only problem is they cutting out a lot of the story. They're telling you what happened in Spain. They're gonna say, oh yeah, the Moors fell in Spain. They always connect that to any story dealing with America. Think about that. Every time you get hit a story with America, they gotta put that in there. They're gonna skip over everything. They're gonna say 7-11, the Moors invaded Spain. Then they're gonna skip to 1492 when they failed, 1491. A year later, circumstantially, for some reason, 1 year later, they figure out a whole new goddamn hemisphere existed. And that's what everybody's supposed to believe. But look how they connect the story to some people who call Moors who fail. Like, you might have to bring that up. You could just say, y'all discover something. Could just hide all that. Because it don't make sense to, if you say a whole continent been discovered because one group of people fall. Shit, right over here, I want to know about them group of people. You ain't gonna just erase that story like they do with George Washington. You keep telling me at the first president, I ain't care about that. Tell me about the beginning. Don't skip nothing because I want to know why you skipping that. I ain't get this art museum, but just giving you an idea how the Americas had look. And look at this, it look like they out there exhibiting older shit that they probably not forget about. It's at the museum down there. That's another name, De Mora. They got a lot of us in the museum. They call us Cristo Negro. Just like they call a bunch of church in Bahia the Rosary of the Black people. You know, finding them shit when you search on the maps, you search for stuff like Black and Negro and stuff. So what are stories that talk about the Castilians and the Spanish against the Moors over here? You can't just act like you come over here, kill off a bunch of Indians, Siberians, and then bring all the Dawson people from Africa over here, and now we got 2 whole new stories. You ain't even that great. You only have a few ships. You have to take fleets to clear out a whole continent of Indians or wherever you believe yourself in. But I don't care what they think. We getting questions from, morals who be sincere. And they be asking me these certain questions that I be saying like, these people ain't got no time machine, dude. Most of the stuff we got as history in English. So 9 times out of 10, somebody else not write that from another source, from another language, and they translate them how they want to translate them. And that not happen probably not 6 times before we get the information there. And that go for even if you're on the internet. So you gotta learn how to read and understand you always getting a point of view from somebody. Always. The only real information comes when you research something. Even if that's an opinion, because you're from a book, in your heart. That's right for you in your heart. Not nobody else say that. No, you say, I look at that, I realize it makes sense. Now he right. That's the only thing right. Everybody else, that's their opinion, including me. If something in this video makes sense to you, it right because that's why. Because it makes sense to you, not because I said it. So that goes for anybody. I don't care if you're a professor, a historian at Harvard for 80 years. I only deal with experts. Like if he's an expert in one thing, like a linguistic, then I'm gonna take his word on that point, on points of language more. So I'll take stuff from different experts in their fields. The reason I deal with her book a lot because she actually got documents. Everybody can't read them, but at least I can say, well, let's get somebody to translate that. I won't do original copies of shit. Let's see. Sala Yolando War. And this right here, Crystal Negro. And this one in Portobello, they got this all over. South America, they call him Naza. What's short for Nazarene. They got right there, Nazareno. El Negrito, El Cristo, El Santo. A Holy Week. And Cristo Negro, Central America and Mexico. It's a lot of them shit. A lot of them boys celebrate that. And then I showed us before in Colombia. Get your idea what it's all about conversions. And then after conversions, slavery and money. I don't care really what they claim to be. The Roman Vatican Pope, the powers of that be, does that, and the third. And this idea of Amexem, these certain Moors who've been ruling both sides of the Atlantic. We'll get into those maps too. They got a real good one to show the whole world. And this from Barry Phelps. He, like I said, deal with the people who in their own field. Both of these, the person who write this book and Barry Phelps, both their whole life on that one subject, researching. And both of them get the same treatment, and which is ignore and disassociation and all that good stuff. The reason why, because the information deals with Moors. They'll have a whole university, they'll have a whole course on Moorish history, and still don't talk about none of that. What they talking about? They want to connect. They want to control the narrative. They don't connect that else to nothing else. It's about the vision. So this right here show a lot of the ancient empires that we the remnants of. Definitely Iberic Punic, because that's been the latest. And that one got the most claim out of all other empires. That's what all these is, land claims. Because he who was first got the highest right. And how you can tell who first? Because my language all over the place. And if you want to claim, well, how is my language? Because we the ancient Canaanites and Moabites and Hittites, who is all us. According to our divine records, chapter 47, that the United States put on record as That's what happened. So in law, land claims might claim higher than anybody else. Unless you're dealing with the blood. That's the only thing higher than everything else in law. Blood. And you need experts. Just get you some experts and them boy tell you what these languages is. So I probably go out there and look at something. I'm gonna tell you what he is. After looking at all them shit. So let's look at some of the characters. Barbaria and Guinea. You know, we deal on both sides. Man getting carried in the Latika. Sudan. They call them parrot because in the record books they used to call people parrots. That's collared. Call them collards. Even somebody had mic complexion, so they probably would call collared rain against snatch up by Castile or parrot. Because that ain't darker than my mama's complexion, but you know, that's how our families is in North America. Everybody got every shade represented from light to dark. So dealing with this, we'll say America, South and Middle. So you know the way they clothing is can tell you too. You go look up clothes of the ancient Canaanites and clothes of the ancient different tribes and stuff. They got books on them type of stuff. So that's Egyptian. When you see them with that skirt, you know, like how the Egyptian queen who established Scotland. I might be all over the place right now, but that's why what they call a kilt goes back. New empires and dominions, wars. Everything is fair in love and war. The only problem was we start going against our ways and going to other ways of life and lose the right way. And it's a pit on this picture. I don't even know why I ain't got the full picture, but on this picture they call him a marabout, which is that Moabites who've been like healers and stuff like that. But basically they persecute them because of that, like as some kind of witchcraft and stuff like that. Rio de Berbice. A lot of maps used to call them places Barbaria, misnomers and stuff, but it's Paria. And Paria, you can see, got a lot of small riverways to get through. So that give us clues about where they've been based off the description of the ships that they put in the stories. So we know from the description of the ships that Azaghal asked Ferdinand for to get home. He used the term to go home. He asked for ships that only been for over here. Basically, even for the point that he asked for a certain ship, or asking for a ship anyway, is the point that he ain't had no ships for this side. But 9 times out of 10, he had ships to go to the other side of the strait. the fact that he asked for a ship to red, red flags. And this book gets us to talk about a lot of the wars during all over the Americas, and there ain't never been a time where ain't been going on. Something wars been going on in this course. From Alaska to Chile, like CNB say. And, we get into some of the maps, the Kingdom Affairs, and the claims. And then with the discovery and the Moorish gold. And I might explain none of this right now because this is from my last video just showing. They use a lot of the term Moorish gold, but they've been dealing with the Incas. So you'll get history talking about Moorish gold, but the places, I guess, flip up, so you wouldn't know what gold they talking about. This one specifically, I think we're talking about not the Incas, Montezuma. Probably pre-Montezuma because they're going into Mexico before the time of Montezuma time. That they don't talk about things neither. See, right, you say on the coast of Rio de Oro, which means the Valley of Gold or region of gold, whatever. River, Rio de Oro, to the island of Santa Catalina, indeterminate with its situated at 8 degrees. But they've been using the term Africa and Guinea, just like these maps. Using the term Africa and Guinea in the old records. Which I can't really read this in Old Andalusian Spanish and in cursive in the script type, so it makes it even more harder for me to read. And as we know from the last video, Martin V called it the Kingdom Affairs. And we're going to see why throughout the series, because with Moors from over here and over there, you see the goal, your goal. And talk about it right here. In truth, the origin of gold, the raw material of the doubles of Granada gold, a currency standard in Christian Andalusia, was not the river of gold. It came from the new kingdom of Granada, which did not owe its name to chance or to the conquerors. So basically, all the stories today say all these Granadas in America and all these places, because of the fetish of the Spanish, they use Moorish stories and stuff. Yeah, all right. Which did not owe its name to the chance or to the conquerors. In the second quarter of the 15th century, the double was devalued, losing its condition. The cause was the advance of Castilians and Portuguese to the part of Westeros, which is one of the ancient names that show up in the books, not in the decline of the Peninsular Kingdom. The Westeros show up in the mythic / legendary historical prehistory that we'll get into at the end of this. With Osiris and all the shit that people ain't even know if it's real or not. But the reason I get into that because she believed a lot of those stories really talking about America too. we just, it's the fact that our, the discovery really got everybody in a different dimension. They can't really understand the history. They fix their mind based off that. Fix their mind based off a lot of different histories, but that one particular is a good one. Fly over the planet. So yeah, they call it Greek mythology and stuff like that. Geryon. So now we get into the prehistory, which is called mythic. The grandson of Medusa. So we deal with Moors. The island of Eritrea, which they think is the ancient Etruscan Moors on the side. Hesperides, and I think they all went and established a lot of stuff on that side. We're dealing with the ancient kingdoms that were wiped out of history. A more literal-minded later generation of Greeks, they call them Tartessos, in southern Iberia. And mythic or not, the Spanish at the time been using claims like this to make claims from of the Americas, because they claiming that in prehistory we've been always Americans coming over here. Basically, they claiming saying they is us, so they had the right to this land too, based off some of these stories. I forget which one specifically that Isabel, that Hespero, because Hespero been from here allegedly and established Hispania. So basically, if she's saying she's Spain, then she coming back home. Hercules fighting Geryon. Hercules, all that in the mythic stuff. But we dealing with the Strait of Hercules, before it's been called Gibraltar. And we dealing with the Asia with Tanis. And all is supposed to be mythic now. But they got maps about it. They say Saba Benat, the house of Sheba. This allegedly a myth now. Bardasan El Hagar, arm of the Nile, and I think Nile is also a name like Amexem. There have been plenty Niles. Another myth, allegedly, Atlante, and he been the king of Mauritania, which they named Atlantis Mountain after, right? And the Atlantic Ocean and all this. They ain't even got no page from him in English. I had to go to Spanish Wikipedia to get it. And it's an interesting one right here. Argentanius, that I think I talked about him in the last video. He had the kingdoms over, he wanted the kings, and after he loses his kingdom, his kingdom fractured into 3, Mauritania, Numidia. That's something else. The kingdom affairs began in Melilla, on the part of Levante. I don't even know if I already get through this or not in my last video. Let me think. No. And it's another word for, I believe, that Amexem. been like a warehouse or something like that. The Kingdom Affairs began in Melilla. So we deal with the Kingdom Affairs as Martin V split between the thing. So the Upper area, it had two cities, Fez and Rabat, or Rabat. Morocco, head of the kingdom, was in Westeros, with Sus, Jamaican, Meta, or Mecca, and Mauritania, the commercial center of Islam. The Normans, who reached the border of Mauritania, arrived in Cabo Frio. The set was called Ethiopia, Guinea, Tierra de Negros. And I think I already gone to that, but just remember that. Especially the Sus, Jamaican, Mecca, and Mauritania. Mauritania is much more ambiguous because, we still got Mauritania around and they over there. But you will see a lot of these Moors gonna have King of Sus, Jamaican, Mecca, Mauritania, Egypt, this, that. That's what they call a king of Amexem. And then you see some stories talking about Musa going beyond the streets to get Ethiopians and stuff like that, and Negroes. Even in our story, talking about him having Negroes and stuff like that. Just Negroes popping up out of nowhere. And some of the clothing, like I said, it looked like the Etruscans, so-called pre-Romans, the pre-Greeks. Look at this shit. The pre-Egyptians, they just get conquered, man. Pay attention to the details. Let's get some of this. Tenerife is an important city. They are the ones in purple ones an important city that we got, that we may end up dealing with in this book. Zamba. There's one. Right there, Sama. Zama. I think that's one. They're the one dealing with Hannibal and dealing with the breakup of the ports of Carthage, which is Panama and Central America. Yeah, definitely right here. Calais. That'd be like Cadiz on the side. A real important center. Sierra Leone. The Cape of Arguer. Cape of Arguer real important too, because the Arguim, she put that right there because a lot of the biblical histories and the histories about Solomon and Sheba and all these histories talking about that certain wood, the cedar tree, so-called wood that they talk about all the time. She believed that a lot come from me too. She didn't know about Arguim, finding that on oil maps. When you find that on the maps, the Moors put that there to mark the spot. Gran Canaria, that always show up. But Gran Canaria today over, and like I said, they put a lot of stuff. She said that, but they gonna check and damn sure a lot of places from this map is over here in the Canaries and on these other islands around. Gran Canaria, right there. see something over here too that says something about, look at that, Puerto Rico. Got another one over here say America. Story of El Dorado. And we also had a story right here. A couple people had a story in this little port right here. A lot of action happened right there. That's why she put that right there. Cause it's like Morocco for real, for real. The land of the pouches. And call them Berbers, doing punches and grouches. And it's a so-called Grand Republic of Tinies. And she put Tinies in Asia. In the northern part of Asia, which would mean my brother going over the top of the earth, like how we look, like when we look at a globe. I go in the direction that, like through the northern area to get from Asia to America easily on boats. And like I said, I like the original sources, and she got them. And, you know, I'm thinking about going to the Vatican, just try to bust that thing open. We don't got to. You got 4 million documents, and all of them about the Duke of the Duke of Medina Sidonia was responsible for guarding and preserving for centuries, and that's why I be able to start at 7-Eleven. Basically, she getting a lot of story from a lot of research. After told we get to her own records from the Duke of Medina. She the Duchess of the Medina Sidonia family, but the Dukes, all the way from at least the 700s, 800s. The Duke's been in charge of that. So she got a lot of records. Not 7, but at least 10. She did a lot of research about the Moors, 7-Eleven, the invasion and all that stuff too. That led to the invasion. But she showed a lot of documents that she getting these points from. So they can dig that. All the documents overseas travel in Spain, which is Andalus at this time. For centuries, see the Tanis. They can deal with the Benny Marines in the story. We ain't gonna really deal with Carthage and Rome. We ain't gonna get into the BC and all that. We're gonna start from a lot of prehistory. You can touch on Hannibal and touch on all that in about 2 paragraphs, and then we get to the points. I just want to put a lot of these Moors names on the record. So on this right here, she put these names right here to show that it is on both sides. You got one of these on both sides of the Atlantic, on the side and on the side. So they deal with the Moorish Empire. She even put Virginia and Fort Henry in there because those names start to pop up in the records. We're dealing with people who in this area, who in her record books dealing with more spying and sailing in Andalusia. People from New France, so-called Quipagno, Cataya, Tula, And you see right here, she put 24 degrees down to 24 degrees, all is known as Africa. And I get into that bunch of videos. But you might want to screenshot this when we go through them stories. They'll tell you they will be kings of certain places. You ain't gonna know which side they're talking about. And people prepare you right there, because every time they use that term, they were talking about damn near any place on the side. Like all that green area to them, to a lot of people on the side, but just prepare you. All Africa. Antipoda. That's the Moluccas, the Moluccas. A lot of the trees, I mean, like the Treaty of Tordesillas, talking about the Moluccas and stuff like that. The Great Sea, the Great Gulf, and you see Yeguas. She put that right there too. The island Madeira, Cabo Bogador, the Canaries. I think the red is under the Moroccan Empire. The states on both sides. And I think the green is under the Moors from this side. Days alone. Because they see Capango and Catayo and the old Mexico. She said that's what the people call that place, Catayo. And then she talk about how we established our own feds over here. The blue, I can't really think right now what that is, but and this 1365 got this a map showing some certain Normans, Moors of Normandy, and they even made a trip before 1492. And this in Spanish, but it's talking about how Dido, Carthaginian princess, queen, how she ended up getting control with, we can get a little bit into that later. This is a map to show. Tarsus gave break up into Numidia, Carthage, and Mauritania. And how Scipio disembarked in Zama, and he destroyed Hannibal, the Carthage, and conquest in the Second Punic War and all that. But Zama could have been right there. And we're not going through this before, but Cape Nam, when the place where they say Hanno, the Carthaginian Hanno, I established his travels, but people put that story in West Africa, right? Hanno going around, the first person that going around Africa. But not only in this book, but a lot of people, and you get 1 million people saying that he might have been the first who came to America, but we know he did as Moors. But that's one of the places he established Nam. And when, even up to the time when the so-called Christopher Columbus story started to come out during his trial and all that. He said the people tell him up the river or whatever, it been a place called Nam to show how far names even travel in the times when they ain't got like much communication like that. Yeah, I did go into this before, but I can't get close-ups. But that, right, they say Morbitos. It's all cartridges. A lot of these still here, like Granada, Margarita. You got Santa Cruz of Africa right there. But what's interesting though, like I said earlier, did change a lot of street names. I find a lot of the stuff as street names now. So a lot of street names in South America called stuff, places like street. I don't pick the word street, I put in Rua. And you find all kind of streets, in Gambia and Congo Street and all these different African. Seems like every place, especially in Mexico too, just a lot of history and being told. In Santa Cruz, South Africa, to show that the McCullough is Africa. Another look at how it's been broken up. See, that's it, Mariecos, it's Morocco. She got all these like these pictures in her book too. And this Andalusia. What I want to say. I mean, you should already know a lot of these cities, but you know this screenshot. You'll be hearing about a lot of these stories throughout the series, and they go every end right here. Tarifa, the major city, just like Gibraltar. Grenada, the reason why Grenada hold on long is because we've been trying to keep America from being known by these people over here for some reason. And you know, we already know the reason, because shit, look what happened. And that right there, the Algarve, I think that's been the spot where we try to keep. And decide to. And they're talking about us from over here. I think we've been over here like, hey, go over there and put them boy in jail. So we got, let's see, model. But we know the wars that were going on over here. We don't see a lot of that. We'll see some. Yeah, but sometimes we should just give up cities, and they still were wondering why, because we had to worry about fighting other people. We had to worry about fighting each other. In America, you keep seeing them going back to quote unquote Morocco. Going back to Morocco, coming back there. We have to keep this, because when we lose it, the whole world changed. So Grenada, the last stronghold. So all they need to get that, so they can be able to get them ships out to the Atlantic. Yeah, funny story about Columbus too. One of the Columbus, he talk about somebody been going around, I guess some more, telling people about America, whatever, write a book and all type of stuff. And he been inside a certain library for a while. But somebody say Columbus would always, a person who always been in one library right there. Said I find that book, take that chance. There ain't really been no chance, I believe. I believe they couldn't leave out this place. They couldn't get through. He probably been trying to find another route going this way. They couldn't get through that way neither. And Lisbon been a important place too to keep. When you see them crosses, them double crosses. When you see the double cross, you're probably dealing with a Christian Oben or more, who been converted, who died in a famous friar or somebody like that get killed. They put crosses in it. So Castile just been them in the north. The Moors have been a little further out. And over time, you just start breaking up into factions and see, Cartagena. I believe these stuff we've been establishing. That's why we got one on our side too. Velez. They gonna be trying to take Tarifa. They be trying to get Quetta and Tangier. They need them little cities like that to get them through Malaga. Okay. Until the word of brief history before we done. It'll be this quick. Osiris took Spain from Geryon. He killed him. He tried to kill. Well, he killed him, but give the throne to his son. They went to get revenge on User, which is Osiris in the Arabic. Oro went and slaughtered the Geryons to avenge Osiris, but they ended up killed him. Oro became Hercules of Libya. He changed his name to Hercules. And he gave Spain to Hispano, which we get Hispania. Then Atlante. She's a little bit more explained than this, but I just made a little condensed. So I knew what happened. And then Atlante, the brother of Hespero. Now you see, Hespero is who the Castilians claim to be relations to, but that's the brother of Atlante. Sailed from Etruria, which I think is the side, conquering Hispania. Hespero come from Hesperides, a supposed land that was opposite on the other side. So you can find Hesperides today on the other side of Spain, but the record books would have used a certain term if we were talking about where you're at today, right? Shit. We got one in Louisiana too, right? These people, right? Probably got a nice little story for why that over there. So they talk about the Hesperides. If you read about the story in the official story, they be talking about, I think this, that's a restaurant, they do that too. But I find Hesperides before over here somewhere. Oh, how many? I don't know what it's a restaurant, but they seem to always been using. I guess that's something we should do. Use historical terms to name our businesses. I guess you do have a genetic memory in people. Restaurants do it. A lot of companies do that, but we don't really recognize it. Yeah, right there in Libya. Just the Hesperides, that the legend, because they say they've been Hercules of Libya and all this, right? But what she was claiming is, she said the record books would have just talked about it because they were already knew of a Hesperides, where when they say the other side of the street, they're never talking about the actual other side, because they would have just given the name, because they got records that just talk about the place. The only time they give you like vague places like that is when they don't know the name of a place, or they don't know where a ship is supposedly going. Even if the record's been actually like a shipwreck could come from a certain place over here in America, or one of these islands, stuff like that. If it ain't been registered on a certain register, they wouldn't have had no name for them. They put something like 33 degrees north of such and such. So we'll start right here. Christian sources remember that in Hispania landed large crowds of foreign people. And that's significant too, because they already had they already know all the people from this area. They already know all these people. They call foreign people somebody they ain't never even see before. The way they dress, talk, and all that been actually different too. Sailing on the coast during the period of the Phoenician navigators, they found a green and cozy land. Christian sources remember that Hispania landed. I just put that 2 times. Yeah. I said 3 times. Copy and paste and shit. We get into that later, but he was talking about this that interesting. They said during the times of the expulsions, they had so-called people in Spain calling themselves who were known as blacks and coloreds, who they had the rights to be there because they've been there since the old days, which is they don't even know how old, but the story interesting because this could have been that their history. So basically, it got all condensed, and it's a timeline though. So one thing happened after the next. Unless I put something like side note, I may jump to a different time period. Yeah, 632. That's where we're gonna start at, and at mostly at 1492. I ain't even finished. I think I end at 1292. So I still got a lot to go. So cut this video short.